Back another video. What's up, y'all? We back for another video. Video is for people, for beginners in iOS development or people who want to become iOS developers. I kind of want to give a kind of like a kind of like a guide to follow on how to get you there, right? So let's get into it. My first recommendation would probably be the Angela Yu course on Udemy. To be honest, I think I said this before, but that's like the gold standard of getting into iOS development. And and yeah, like she does a great job. She's a great teacher on breaking down all the topics and like kind of keeping it light and educational at the same time. And it does get really deep. But yeah, I would definitely say check that out. And to be honest, you don't have to complete it because there's some of it that pertains to like machine learning and like ARKit and all that stuff. And if you're a beginner, you're not necessarily there yet, or maybe you are, or maybe that's not what you want to do. So I would say you don't have to get that far. And then by the time you get to that point in the course, you have a really good understanding. If you have issues with that course, I would or if you don't like it that much, there's also hacking with Swift. But before I go into hacking with Swift, there's one thing I want to talk about, which is what is your end goal here in learning iOS development? Because there's there's a lot of ways you could go, but there's Swift and SwiftUI, and that's like the big dilemma, the big fight that's always like UIKit or SwiftUI, UIKit or SwiftUI, right? And yeah, and then there's no right or wrong answer, to be honest. It just depends on what do you want to do, and like, yeah, basically, what do you want to do? Like, are you a hobbyist? Do you want to just build apps for yourself? Is this like a career? Do you want like a full-time job? Do you want to freelance? Do you want a contract? There's like a lot of avenues and options here. So you kind of have to think about what do you want to do / be, and what kind of code you're gonna be working with. Because if you want a full-time job right now, I would say, to be honest, you need to learn like UIKit and like Swift, because Swift UI isn't there yet in the marketplace. Like, it's not predominant, and it's gonna take some time. Like, of course it's coming. Like Apple said, oh, they're moving towards Swift UI, but it's just not there yet. It's still new. Like, it came out in 2019, and it's still fairly new. And not to shit on it. Like, I like SwiftUI. I'm not one of those people who, I'm not really on either side. Like, both are really cool. But I say the benefit of learning like UIKit or like learning how to programmatically build out your apps in Swift is SwiftUI is really easy. Like, once you start learning it, and you can understand what some of the stuff is. You can understand what's happening in the background, because it's kind of built based off of it. I'd say that decision on what you want to do, like in iOS development, it's important, because that dictates what you need to learn and which avenue you'd want to go. And there's also Objective C, which there's still a lot of code bases out there that have Objective C. So shout out to you guys. That's that's another beast of its own. But yeah, once you have that hacking with Swift, they have 100 days of Swift or 100 days of SwiftUI. That's really cool for beginners as well. And once you have like one of those or multiple of those courses under your belt, then you should just get out there and start building stuff. Build an app for yourself. Try to get it on the App Store. That's an interesting process, and it's kind of complicated, but not too complicated. It's tedious. That's the word. It's tedious, but you'll learn a lot from it. Once you have those courses, you could continue like more and more courses, right? More courses. There's a bunch out there. There's like, especially on Udemy, there's like so many iOS courses. But you need to apply what you learn. And if you're just taking courses, you don't really get to apply, because if you're doing courses all the time, you kind of like line yourself in a way, because if you haven't practiced like on your own, then once you're out there on your own, you're like, there's no courses and you're not going to know what to do, right? So practice on your own, work on some projects, right? Because and some of the projects, it'll be kind of hard. Like, you'll bang your head against the wall, but that's part of the learning process. And you can still rely on other sources but now it's not a course. Now you just Google, go to Stack Overflow, and look up what you're missing in your project or what you need to do in your project. And after working on some projects, and you can go check out some more courses and try to get try to go to more complicated courses. Like, I'll link a few. There's a bunch of good free ones out there. Like you can build. There's one building Netflix on free code camp. That was really cool. You work a lot with collection views, and that's really nice. And there's like a Twitter one that was nice because you can jump back and forth from your own stuff, your own projects to courses. I found that really helpful because you take the course, you learn some stuff in a particular area, and you try to apply those to your projects. And I found that to be like really helpful for me. And yeah, the courses I'd recommend would be, like I said, the free code camp has a Netflix one. Once you're for like an intermediate, or I guess once you're not a beginner, and then you have the Sean Allen courses. He has a really good course on SwiftUI and UIKit too, if you whichever you prefer. And there's the iOS Academy. He builds out he built Instagram, TikTok. They're a little older now, but they're still really useful and helpful because one thing that you build out the app pretty much from the ground up, so that's always good to learn how an app like that is built. I mean, he doesn't tell you how like the actual app is built, but understanding how what it takes to build something like that is very helpful. You kind of just have to go like from learning to applying what you learn, and learning and applying what you learn. That's pretty much the whole journey. And I would say once you've done that, like for a few months, like for a good amount of time, then you wanna then if you're looking for a job, then you wanna start kind of looking for like higher level topics in a way. Like by this point you probably understand like networking. I'd say for really advanced topics, or not super advanced, but like for intermediate topics, hacking with Swift is a good option. I know I mentioned his 100 Days with Swift course. That's a really good option. Also, Ray Wunderlich, they have some good books. Actually, I got one of their books right here. They have some good books. I'd say Hacking with Swift and Ray Wunderlich alone are really, really good options on getting you interview ready, because if you're going to want to be an iOS developer out there in the field, then you have to get ready for them interviews. Yeah, there's a list of topics of things you want to know before you get into interview. So just researching. What I recommend too is like once you're applying and like you see topics, because they'll have like the topics that you need to know. I mean, some of the subject, like if that job requires a certain framework, by this point, whatever comes up that you don't really understand, write it down and look into it and try to understand that. It's good to find something you don't understand, because the worst thing is to not know what you don't know. Because then when you're in the interview, one of those things you don't even know about might come up, and then you're just a deer in the headlights. I've asked around, and like I say, like generally the timeline, it takes 6 to 12 months to become of dedicated practice, like at least 15 hours a week, to become a developer, where you can be like, not even develop, to become like job ready for potential to be a developer. Because I mean, when are you ever a developer, right? Like just because you have a job, you're a developer, not right? But to be job ready, I'd say it takes like 6 to 12 months from asking around. But I challenge you to do it even sooner if you can. Do it 24/7 and see how quick you can do it. But I mean, and if it takes you longer than that, then it's fine. We're all at what's it called? We're all at our own journey and our own pace. Don't compare yourselves to others. Just do your best, and good luck out there. Keep coding. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.